I wanted to figure out what gave me more value, blowing a ton of money on one fancy night out in the US, or spending that same money on a week-long trip in the Philippines. So I tried both. First, I did a treat-yourself night in Houston. It started with pricey valet parking, then cocktails at a rooftop bar that cost more than full meals elsewhere. Dinner was at a high-end steakhouse, the kind with dim lights, thick menus, and a bill that makes you sweat. Two people, and the check easily hit the triple digits. We ended the night at a live music spot where even bottled water felt overpriced. When I added it all up, that single night cost a small fortune. Now, here's the kicker. For less than that one night in Houston, I flew to the Philippines and spent an entire week there. And this wasn't roughing it. I stayed in a beachfront bungalow, took private boat rides to hidden lagoons, and ate fresh seafood every day. One expensive night out in Texas covered 7 days of unforgettable adventure in paradise. That's why I'm sharing this. It completely changed how I think about money, travel, and what it really means to live well. This isn't about being cheap. It's about getting a huge upgrade in life for way less money. To really understand why the Philippines was such a game changer, you have to see the contrast. Houston is actually cheaper to live in than many US cities, but luxury experiences there are still crazy expensive. A staycation weekend with a hotel, a couple of nice meals, and some fun, like a concert, sports game, or museum, can easily cost over $1,000 for just 2 days. By the end, you've spent a ton and only had a short break. That was the trap I was stuck in, believing that rest, fun, or travel had to come with a massive price tag. So I decided to test it. I booked a flight from Houston to Manila. And what I found in the Philippines blew my mind. It wasn't just a cheaper trip, it was a better life experience altogether. The trip itself is no joke. Over 20 hours in the air, basically an entire day gone just crossing the globe. But that flight wasn't just travel, it felt like hitting a reset button on my life. As Houston shrank below me, I saw its neat highways and tidy neighborhoods fade away. Hours later, landing in Manila, it was the complete opposite, chaotic, colorful, and alive. The moment I stepped off the plane, a wave of warm, humid air hit me, packed with new smells. Flowers, sizzling street food, even the sea. The sounds were different too. Honking cars weren't angry, just part of the city's rhythm. And then I saw them. Jeepneys, shiny, colourful, wildly decorated buses that looked like moving art pieces. Each one was bursting with character, totally unlike my plain car back home. Yes, Manila traffic was insane. Cars, motorbikes, jeepneys, all flowing like a slow-moving river. But instead of stress, I felt wonder. That flight didn't just take me across the world, it dropped me into a whole new reality. My old problems, they were 8,000 miles away. Here's the big shift. The Philippines completely broke my American idea of value. It proved that living richly has almost nothing to do with how much you spend. Take hotels. In Houston, a decent room costs hundreds of dollars. In the Philippines, for a tiny fraction of that, I stayed in places I thought only existed in travel magazines, like a bamboo bungalow right on the beach in Palawan, where my front yard was the sand, or a modern apartment in Manila with a rooftop pool, cheaper than a budget motel back home. It wasn't just a room, it was a dream experience for pennies. But the food, that's where it gets crazy. In Houston, eating out can wreck your budget. In the Philippines, food was a daily adventure that barely touched my wallet. I tried everything, from street food to sit-down restaurants. For just a couple of dollars, I'd get an entire feast. I ate eyesore, grilled chicken intestines, dipped in spicy vinegar, quack, deep-fried quail eggs in bright orange batter, and whatever looked good at the night markets. Each snack was hot, fresh, delicious, and cost pocket change. Even in proper restaurants, the prices blew my mind. In Cebu, I had a plate of crispy roasted pig, lechon, so good the skin shattered like glass, plus rice, seafood soup, and drinks. For 2 people, the bill was less than the cost of 2 cocktails in Houston. Imagine eating like royalty every day and never worrying about money. That's what it felt like. That's the kind of moment that rewires your brain. You're having one of the best meals of your life, and it costs less than coffee back home. It makes you see the world differently. So tell me, have you ever had a travel moment like that, where the value was just unreal? Drop it in the comments. And if you're enjoying this story, hit like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Back to the adventure. If the low prices blew my mind, the nature in the Philippines completely destroyed everything I thought I knew. In Houston, nature usually means a park, green, peaceful, but controlled. In the Philippines, nature is wild, raw, and jaw-dropping. It makes you feel small in the best way. My first taste of it was island hopping in Palawan, often called one of the most beautiful places on Earth. You hop on a traditional wooden boat, a banca, and head out across crystal clear water. Then, out of nowhere, you see giant limestone cliffs covered in jungle rising straight out of the sea. We stopped at the small lagoon. To get inside, you swim or kayak through a narrow crack in the rocks. On the other side, a hidden paradise, a calm emerald pool surrounded by towering cliffs. It felt like stepping into another world. Back home, you pay to look at exhibits in a museum. Here I was inside the exhibit, swimming in it. And every day it just kept getting better. Beaches with sand so soft it felt like flour. Coral reefs so colourful they looked like a living rainbow, packed with fish. It wasn't just sightseeing, it was diving headfirst into a whole new world. I had traded a city park for a country made of more than 7,000 islands. Talk about an upgrade. But the most powerful part? The people. Filipino culture is all about community, kindness, and hospitality. And it's not a cliché, it's real. Total strangers helped me all the time. A street vendor once walked me 2 blocks just to make sure I found the right bus. A family on the beach insisted I join their picnic. That warmth is everywhere. There's even a cultural value called kapwa, seeing yourself in others, a shared identity. You feel it in the respect for family and elders, like the gesture where younger people press an elder's hand to their forehead. You see it in the massive fiestas where whole towns come together to celebrate. What struck me most is how differently life is valued here. In the US, success often means money, jobs, and stuff. In the Philippines, it's about family, community, and enjoying simple everyday joys. It was a huge reminder. A rich life isn't about your bank account. So let's break it down. Houston versus the Philippines. Food. Houston has world-class restaurants, but they cost a fortune. In the Philippines, food is delicious, affordable, and shared with others. Winner, the Philippines. Nature. Houston has lovely parks. The Philippines has lagoons, volcanoes, and some of the most beautiful beaches on Earth. Winner, the Philippines. Culture. Houston is diverse and modern, full of museums. The Philippines has a culture of deep warmth and connection you can feel. Winner, the Philippines. Cost, a luxury weekend for 2 in Houston, over $1,000. A round-trip flight to Manila can cost less than that, and once you're there, $76 a day covers you comfortably. That same Houston weekend could pay for a whole week in the Philippines for 2 people. Winner, the Philippines, no contest. This is the knockout punch. I didn't just trade one city for another country, I traded a mindset. Back home, life felt like scarcity, always needing to earn more just to enjoy a little. In the Philippines, I discovered abundance. Suddenly, my dreams weren't limited by my budget. Experiences that once felt out of reach were now shockingly affordable. And let's be clear, Houston is a great city. This isn't about bashing it. It's about realizing that the Western version of success, big job, big paycheck, big bills, is getting harder and harder to keep up with. But there are other ways to live a rich life. The real upgrade isn't a first-class ticket. It's upgrading your perspective. It's the luxury of connection, of adventure, of standing in front of something breathtaking and not worrying about how much it costs. That's what the Philippines gave me. It taught me that the best investment isn't in stuff. It's in memories that actually change how you see the world. So if you're feeling stuck, look beyond your routine. It doesn't have to be the Philippines. It could be anywhere your money stretches further and life is valued differently. You might find the biggest adventure of your life is way more affordable than you think. If this story hit home, do me a favor, like this video and subscribe. I'm building a community around this idea and I want to hear from you. So here's my question. What's one place that completely changed how you think about travel and value? Drop your answer in the comments. I can't wait to read your stories.